it working now? Jeez. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the delay. I literally no idea what happened there. I obviously you guys know I've got the two computers set up, and I happened to glance over about 10 minutes before I was going to be doing this, and I noticed the microphone wasn't like working. So I was like, all right, let me try to figure out the microphone. And then like my other computer started acting weird, and then all of a sudden there was no mouse cursor on the new laptop, and so I literally restarted it like 8 times and it just worked. So my old computer is still reloading at the moment, but we are back anyway. Welcome back to the channel. This is Unitedverse, everybody. I am your host, Sean, and I swear it is usually a lot smoother than this. But today it's been rough, but hope you guys are having a good weekend. Hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday. Are you guys watching any of the friendlies at all? Or are we all just done with friendlies, done with footy, done with whatever until the fall? You guys let me know where you're at. I got to open up slides on my phone now, but what's everybody getting up to this weekend? I know, sorry I didn't do a stream yesterday. I mean, a couple different reasons. There wasn't a whole lot going on yesterday, like in terms of news, right? Like it's pretty slow news day this weekend. Obviously, we've got a little bit to talk about today, but I had one of my best friends growing up, lives in Tennessee now, but he was in town this past week helping take care of his dad. So I thought I'd stop by for a couple hours yesterday and say hey and just see everybody's how he's doing. But let's see who's getting involved in the chat, you guys, because we are getting into some Man United transfer news today. We are just diving into all sorts of stuff. No Mbeumo's anything yet, so if you guys are coming looking for the Mbeumo news, that's not happened yet, but we do have a little bit of news to come over, some transfer news, of course, some United-related news, and then, of course, I've got a trio of scouting reports for you, so hopefully everything smooths out computer-wise, and then it's so funny when you've got two computers because you'd think maybe one is good if the other one's not working, but then both decided to crash out at the same time. But let me see who's jumping in, you guys. Yes, please hit that like button for me. Danny B in the house, representing as always. Appreciate you, bud. Hope you're doing well. Lucky Sin getting in all over the Mbeumo news. Not really any news quite yet, Lucky, but welcome back to the channel. Sanjay getting involved. Big up, Sanjay. Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Neil Driscoll, been a minute, Neil. Hope you are doing well too, my friend. Hope everything's going well in your neck of the woods. Lucky says we need to wrap up. Yeah, it's funny. All the people were getting so upset about the Mbeumo stuff. Like it's literally like a week into the transfer window. I think we've been done pretty well so far. Apparently, I mean, relatively speaking, right, compared to other transfer windows where it takes forever. But I would like to see it wrapped up. It would be great. So, Danny's watching the boxing. Big up. I just never got into boxing. I don't have anything against it. It was just it's like basketball. I just never got into basketball, so it is what it is. UFC later. I used to be a little bit into UFC. I did used to watch that a little bit more, but not in a very long time. But now this other computer is just absolutely just done. Now, for some reason on my old laptop, the buttons on my mouse have reversed, and I have no idea how that even happened. This computer, I'm going to go Office Space on this fucking thing, and I'm going to absolutely just destroy it one of these days. Shout out to the legends who know what I'm talking about when I say go Office Space on something. We all kind of know what that means, right? When you go Office Space on something. I got to restart this thing again. Jeez, oh Pete's. Yeah, but Lucky, I think we're probably all set for the Mbeumo. I think he's probably going to end up joining United. It's just a matter of hammering out the details. So that is what we are going to be talking about today. But nothing, I mean, the Mbeumo stuff is nothing really we didn't expect, nothing really new. Obviously, we knew that Brentford rejected the proposal. Mbeumo wants to come to United. I mean, they were always going to reject the first proposal, right? That's just how it works. And then all the news, I saw so much of the news was like, United preparing a second bid. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when your first bid is rejected and you want a player. It's not news. That's just how a transfer works. And so, again, I just didn't feel like getting into that too much. Danny says, didn't play much football, just boxing and rugby growing up, Sean. Yeah, I've been playing. I've been kicking a ball around since I was about 5 or 6. Did like the travel stuff when I was younger, so we didn't have it in schools. Like I played at recess, but we didn't have it in schools until I got to high school. So I was just traveling around all the time, orange slices and early mornings, rocking the sweats underneath the shorts in the morning. Big up Usman. Good to see you again, my friend. Nice to see you as always. Today I've got to read from my phone because my other computers just decided to just take this shit to bed. So just forgive me as I do this because the phone is a lot smaller. But if you guys are bored with not a lot of news and stuff, you can always feel free to check out some of the exclusive content on the channel, right? We've got the season 2 of What If premiered the other week. So I just dropped episode 7, which I guess is episode 2 of the second season. Go check out that one. It's all about what if we had signed Sir Alex Ferguson's top striker target in 2012 instead of Robin Van Persie. Go check that one out. And then obviously first episode of season 2 dropped a couple weeks ago. You can check that one out as well. And then you've got all the exclusives, the keep sell video that Dylan and I did this past week. You guys can go check out that, get caught up on what you and the community and what Dylan and I had to say on the whole entire United squad and things like that. So again, check all that out. Just love to see you guys, get you guys' thoughts on all that. Go check out the memberships as well to learn how you can get involved in the channel even more. And then go check out the UVE store. Just dropped some brand new designs in the UVE store that I'm super, super excited about. I'd love to get your guys' feedback on some of that. I'd love to see people wearing them. So if you wear them and you feel bold enough to take a photo, let me show it off and let me spread the love. Let me know. But let's dive into some of this news, man. I'm going to try to get this computer started one more time because it would be so cool to be able to see this on my big screen. First up, again, something we've kind of known for a little while, right? But, it's going all over the place right now. And it's like a dead cert, so I don't know why it's big news. But so Fabrizio Romano reported this morning that the decision has been made by Ruben Amorim and the United higher-ups that Alejandro Garnacho will leave United this summer, and all parties are trying to find a solution for his exit. So that we all kind of knew this was coming, right? The proof was in the pudding. The writing's been on the wall for a little while. It does seem like Garnacho's, he's young. I get that. He's been playing for a couple of years, first team football. He's just got some decision-making issues. And I don't just mean in the final third. I mean, off the pitch with some of the social media stuff, turning up late to team meetings. You got to remember, this kid turned up late to a meeting, like his first meeting under Eric Ten Hag that preseason, and he got disciplined for it. Like, he's got a little bit of that. We saw this kind of stuff from like Sancho, from Pogba a little bit, from like Ousmane Dembele when he was at Dortmund, was getting into all this same kind of shit. But it does. And then obviously we got reports that, Ruben Amorim kind of laid into Garnacho during a team meeting and said, you just better pray you find another club basically to play for. Obviously Garnacho was not too happy about not featuring in the final, came on 20 minutes. A lot of us were not happy with that either. And it's kind of like one of those things. And we say this about managers sometimes too, right? Like, what you said is not inaccurate. It's not wrong. But the fact that you said it is probably the part that's not okay. And I think that's the issue that Garnacho is getting into some hot water. I think we know that Ruben Amorim does not like those kind of personalities in the dressing room. It's one of the first things he does is do a clear out of that kind of entitlement, that kind of toxicity, because it spreads. It can negatively impact and really infect other members of the squad. We don't need that. I'm sure that Garnacho's done. Rashford's probably done. Sancho's probably done. Anthony, I don't think Anthony has an attitude problem, but he was bought for Ten Hag, so it is what it is. But let's see who's coming in the chat here. Sports predictions, man. It's been a minute. How are you doing, my friend? Let us know what you're getting up to this weekend. Hope you are having a good weekend. It is Saturday. It's kind of hot here. I've just been all over the gaff today, just groceries and cooking stuff. Made some fire ramen last night, fancy ramen with some like dobak and gochujang and all that fun stuff. You guys know I do ramen right, and just the spicier the better. I got kimchi, I got all that shit on there. I love it. I even drizzle a little Mike's hot honey on that stuff. Danny says Bayer Leverkusen hopefully make a good offer out of the Wirtz money. Yeah, has that been announced yet. I don't really follow Liverpool, so I don't know what if that's been like formally announced or not yet. You guys have to let me know in the chat. But yes, they will be getting a lot of money from Liverpool and potentially a lot of wages. You won't see anybody talk about it though for Florian Wirtz. If it were United, it would be plastered all over the place. They'd be talking about how much he walks and shit. But because it's Liverpool, everybody just gets on their knees and pulls their hair back and just says, "Hey, let's praise him." Right? It's freaking annoying. Like you're saying, not happy with the Glazers. Well, you guys can tell that I'm not happy with the Glazers ever. That's why I've got the huge Glazers out thing going on. Sports Vixen's just chilling. Good, man. It's nice to just chill sometimes, like it's a good deal. Dana says, don't want Garnacho going to a Premier club cheap. Yeah, and that was the big question for me. Like, what happens there? So Romano claims that Bayer Leverkusen have made contact, but they're not the only club. He says that obviously there's Italian clubs that are interested. And then he said there are 3 Premier League clubs that are interested as well. Ten Hag is Bayer Leverkusen manager now, and he's really the one who brought Garnacho into the first team picture. He kind of singled him out, brought him through, and then that next season, Kobbie Mainoo was in the plan. So maybe Ten Hag would like a reunion. Leverkusen aren't United. They're not PSG. They're not Madrid. They don't have that kind of cash just lying around. But Ten Hag does love Garnacho. He loves the kid. So I wouldn't rule it out quite yet, but Leverkusen need to raise those funds. Wirtz, once they sell Florian Wirtz, they're going to have them rubber band banks in their pocket. Leverkusen, they're going to be balling out, man, making it rain. Unfortunately, they're never going to be the biggest club in the Bundesliga. It's just the way it is. So it is what it is. You have to think, in terms of Premier League clubs, it's got to be Chelsea's probably in the mix, right? I think he would fit in good at Aston Villa. Garnacho, the way that Unai Emery plays, I think does suit him. I think he likes those pacey wingers, Leon Bailey, Rashford, Asensio did really, really well there as well. I do think Garnacho could definitely fill that hole that Rashford left when his loan ended. Who else in that? Maybe Spurs. Did Son a free agent now? So that left-hand side is probably free as a bird, right? Maybe I could see him playing at Spurs on that left-hand side. Do you guys think that could work out? No Ange anymore, so that's a big one. But would you want him going to a Premier League club, though? Probably not. Not everyone likes the idea of selling players to a Premier League rival. I go back and forth on it. It just depends. If it's a club like that's typically below us in the table, I don't mind as much. But when it's a club like Arsenal, City, Liverpool, that I'm not too happy with. I don't like strengthening those clubs, if that makes sense. But Danny doesn't want him going cheap. Danny says, give Napoli or Bayer 45 million euro with add-ons and 15% sell on. Danny needs to come out here and be director of football, man. But how much would you ask for Garnacho? I would put it on the screen as a poll, but like I said, my other computer is just really shittering the bed right now, so I can't do that. So you let me know how much you would ask for Garnacho. How much do you think we could get him? Maybe do that side by side. How much would you ask for? How much do you realistically think we will end up getting for Garnacho? And where do you think he'll go? Napoli, obviously, we're interested in January. We said no then. We should have sold him in January if that's the thing, but he'd be probably lifting a skedaddle right now if that were the case. But if I've read rumors that Noni Madueke could be going for like 60 million pounds. If Noni Madueke's price tag is 60 million, then Garnacho, you got to think Garnacho's is well above that, right? Like you just have to. This computer is just fucked, dude. I don't know how my mouse buttons got completely reversed. Like left click is now right click and shit. It's really doing my head in at the moment. Danny B says Premier League club wants him 60 million pounds with add-ons. See, that's the way to do it, man. I really hope, Danny, that we start getting to this place as a club where we are just not gonna just get trampled over. We're not gonna just get bullied, whether we're buying or whether we're selling. If these rumors about like Brentford, like they're using Cunha as a measuring stick for Mbeumo's price, then we need to start doing the same. If crap players are going for that much in the Premier League, then like how much did Arsenal pay for Shai Havertz? I don't even remember, but like that to me is like the Noni Madueke, Shai Havertz. Garnacho is better than them. Like he just is, and so I think it's time that we start knowing our worth in the transfer market, knowing the worth of our players, and just sticking to it. So, but but it could really do a good influx of cash, in which, I mean, I'm not going to turn down. So that's going to help us come the summer when it's time to buy someone like Gyökeres, when it's time to buy someone like a left back, maybe a Stupinian, perhaps. Who knows? We got a lot of players that we're linked to, and I think that the money's definitely going to help. Sorry if I'm talking a little slow. I'm still trying to get this computer up and running, and it's just not wanting to. This fucking thing. It might be time to just take this thing out the pasture. Sandy says 55 million. Big up, Sandy. Welcome to the channel. Apologize for the frazzledness of today because my computer is absolutely messing up, but it is what it is. Eric, welcome to the channel. A lot of new faces. Big up, you guys. Make sure you're hitting that like button and subscribing too if you're new. I'd love to see the community growing even further. We are on the road to 3K. Love to get it there before the season starts. I know it's a big ask, but I believe in all of you. You guys can do it. So let me just please let this computer work. So, but big up, guys. Lucky says need Alejandro Garnacho, 55 million. So you guys are kind of thinking around the 55, 60 million. Lucky Singh says, I want you to wear Chelsea shirt. Really don't care. Yeah, I don't know if Garnacho thinks he's bigger than the club. I think Garnacho just thinks he's a little bigger than he actually is. He's got that like chicken hawk syndrome. You guys ever watch Looney Tunes growing up? The little chicken hawk kid, the like little baby chicken hawk that thinks he's like tough, and so he's walking around with his chest puffed out, even though he's like super small. That's kind of what the vibe I'm getting from Garnacho a little bit sometimes. But what are you going to do? I mean, he can go on and do great things. I think for us, it's kind of like the Sancho. It's kind of like some of the other players. It's more just about the attitude that we're just not willing to put up with. And I think I don't have a problem with that. So I think attitude to me is much more important than how good you are on the ball personally. But speaking of influxes of cash, though, from selling players, so United could be set for another little bonus influx of cash thanks to that old sell-on clause that we love to inject in all these sales from the academy. Remember, guys like Iqbal, Kambwala, Alanga, Alvaro, we've got sell-on clauses everywhere. We're like Oprah. Everybody's getting a sell-on clause. And I don't have a problem with it. It is good business if you are just, all right, my computer finally decided to work, so we're going to do this. But another youngster that we moved on a few years ago that you might be moving up this summer, potentially, we'll see, Charlie Savage. So Charlie Savage went to Forest Green, and now he's at Reading. But word is he might be wanting to take the next step in his career, and several clubs are happy to oblige. There are a lot of clubs that are reportedly interested in Charlie Savage. Now you guys are like, why are we talking about Charlie Savage? I'm going to tell you. So Portsmouth, Blackburn, Birmingham, Wrexham even. So maybe we could see Charlie Savage on Welcome to Wrexham next year. But apparently they're all reportedly interested. Reading are going to want a pretty hefty sum to let him go. United have a 50% sell-on clause in Charlie Savage's contract, which is why we bring it up, which is not going to be as big as like Alvaro is probably going to go for. He's not going to go for like 50 million. But if he goes for anywhere between like 5-10 million, we're going to get, a couple million at least for Charlie Savage, which is not bad. That's like a year's worth of wages for some of these, for a player or something. So not bad at all, in my opinion. Charlie Savage has said in recent interviews, and he's kind of taken the diplomatic route. He says he's got 2 years left on his contract, but he's said expect to see me here next year. But money talks, and a big fee will be difficult for Reading to turn down. So could be seeing a little bit of influx of cash, and I like that. I like that plan. I don't think Charlie Savage is ever going to break into the first team. I think his dad still is a little butthurt about that because it is what it is. But what are you going to do? But you guys think we got rid of Charlie Savage too soon? Are there any other youngsters that you think we should have held on to? You can't say Alvaro. That's cheating. Just try to come up with a different name if you can. But moving on. So maybe Garnacho, maybe Charlie Savage. That's a hefty chunk of change. Sancho, Anthony, Malacia, Rashford. I would still sell Dallo. I would still sell Onana as well. Just get them all out of here. Højlund potentially as well. I saw some reports from Corriere dello Sport that maybe Højlund could be set for a move. So interesting stuff. But you guys let me know. So moving on. despite the reports and kind of the general kind of reported consensus that maybe a center back is relatively low on United's list of priorities this summer, even though like literally two of them walked away for free and one's not going to be fit until like September, October. So even though we've got three, basically we're down three, apparently United aren't interested in a center back. But we got a fresh link today, though, for a defender that we've been linked to in the past. Amorim knows very, very well. And this link's coming from Ebola. So this is what Ebola had to say today. The outlet. So Ebola is pretty much like one of the most popular outlets in Portugal. So I try to always make sure we're getting decent sources. But apparently Manchester United have reignited their interest in Ousmane Diomande and could make a bid for the Sporting defender in the coming weeks. Liverpool, Arsenal, other clubs around Europe also interested. Do you guys like Diomande? I know a couple of you have mentioned him in the past as someone you would want at the club, someone you think would fit in really, really well at the club. How are you guys feeling about that? I think he's going to be pretty expensive personally, and so I'm probably leaning away a little bit, but that is just me. I don't think your chats are showing up on my screen, by the way, but that's cool. This computer, man. The freaking thing I'm using is just not working today. I don't know if the EVMux, the streaming platform, is just having some issues, and I have no idea what's going on, but let's see what we got here. Let me try to do this. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I want to read it over here. Give me 1 second, you guys. I gotta freaking move this over so I can read the chats out because for some reason it's not popping up on my streaming platform personally. So I've seen like 67 million thrown around as a fee. So I'm not sure if that's the accurate price tag. 67 million is a lot for any player, let alone a young center back. Obviously, I think that he knows Amorim. I think if I remember correctly, because I did do like a little bit of I featured Diomande in a video a while back for center back targets, but he does have really good ball progression numbers. He really is good at driving the ball out from the back. So there is that. But I think that for 67 million, it's probably very low on our list right now. So I would say probably not going to happen, but never say never, right? Why don't we do some scouting reports real quick, and then I'll dive into some other rando news. So make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you are subscribing to the channel if you are new. Hopefully everything's going sound good on you guys' end. Let me know. So yeah, I don't know why your chats are not popping up on my streaming service. I don't think it's really updating. I think that this computer is this computer is not even a year old, so that's cool. Let me go down to my scouting report here. So moving on. Let's take a look at some scouting reports, you guys. Today I did three positions. We're talking about center backs right now, so I did a little bit of a center back. And then I know some of you have been talking about like right wing backs for a little bit. Some of you were talking about like Roger Fernandes, Wesley Franca. I saw these rando links to Vanderson at Monaco, but I don't think they were from credible sources. So I've got a young center back for you, and I've got two young players that I think could come in and do a good job on that right wing back slot and kind of rotate in and out as we balance some of these competitions. So starting with the center back, and say hello to Finn Jelsch. So plays for Stuttgart. He's 18-year-old center back. Very, very good progressor of the ball. Very, very, very good on the ball. Very calm, very mature, very composed, very able to dribble, carry the ball out from the back. He's got excellent tackling numbers, his interception numbers, duels. He's just very mature for such a young player, and I think that that's what I really like from him so far. So he joined Stuttgart from Nuremberg in January. So he just made the switch in January. So obviously it's going to be very, very difficult to get him out of there, especially with there being in Europe. But they got him for just 8 million euros. Now, at the time, up until January, he was third in Nuremberg squad for pass completion and duels. So when you're third in the squad for pass completion and duels, that's pretty good as an 18-year-old. he was fast-tracked into the first team, and he quickly established himself as a regular in the starting 11. He's a very modern defender, like I said. And what I really like about him, if you watch him play, so he's very comfortable playing against the high press, which I think is going to be worth its weight in gold in the Premier League with so many high-pressing sides. But what he does is he'll sit on the ball as they're building out, and he'll actually invite the press in. He wants those opposition attackers to come in because he's so comfortable on the ball that he's totally confident in his ability to beat that press with a dribble, with a pass. And I really like that. I think that's a skill that, especially the way we're building out, and again, like I said, against the way other teams are playing with the high press, I think that skill itself is going to be invaluable. And it's compounded by the intangibles with his composure and his confidence. You can't teach that stuff. That stuff's just, you have it or you develop it later on with age, but this kid has it naturally. He was crucial for them in the DF Pokal final, especially in the semifinal. He played and he was excellent in that semifinal. He plays as a right-sided center back he has played in the back three a lot. He's even played at right back sometimes, sort of like how you've seen like Benjamin Pavard or like Jules Koundé do, or like Ben White. Ben White was doing things. But this is like, if you look at his numbers and look at his heat map. So we'll start with the heat map first. You can see the heat map, like pretty much that right channel in just like his whole half and then inside the opposition half. That's where he lives. That's where he wants the ball. And you can see he's even getting in these wide areas. I think he'd be very, very comfortable in a back three. Look at his numbers there. Like excellent numbers. So when you see progressive passes received, that means you're getting into advanced positions to receive the ball. So again, very, very comfortable playing in a higher line, very comfortable recovery. And then you look at his progressive carries and his take-ons, both of them well above average. So again, he's very composed and calm and confident in his ability to beat a man with the ball at his feet. He's got excellent progressive numbers there. And then again, he's a defender, but he's no slouch. Just because he's a modern defender who can carry the ball does not mean that he doesn't put in his defensive shift. Like I said, top 12% for those tackles per 90, top 15% for interceptions as well. Very, very, very good. He's got a couple yellows, so I love to see him kind of get his discipline locked up a little bit. He's young, so he'll do that. So it is what it is. But I think that what you're going to see from him is he's a leader too. He played in the under 17 Euros, the under 17 World Cup with Germany, and won both of those. He captained Germany's under 19s as well. He's already being touted for a 2026 World Cup call-up. So, and a lot of this sounds very familiar to a defender that we now have at the club, Matthijs de Ligt, because Jelsh actually idolized de Ligt as a younger player. He says, and this is what he said about de Ligt. He said, he is a player who I always watch. I always try to copy one or two things from him. His physicality and the way he defends is something that I really like. And so he's got the physicality. He's really good in the air as well, that de Ligt, but I think he's better on the ball than de Ligt, just as a natural defender. So problem is, like I said, he just joined Stuttgart in January. Probably not going anywhere. Being young, being German as well, it's probably a safe bet to assume that Bayern are going to be in for him as well in the future, but you never know. So it is what it is. Let me just climb over here and see what you guys are saying here. So I apologize again. I don't know what's going on with the computer that I'm using for the streaming service, but I'm not seeing any new comments pop up on my stream, my ticker. So I'm not able to put them on the screen at the moment. So I'm going to go through some of them and read them out, though, like old school. You guys been around the channel for a while. You know that I haven't always had the streaming platform because the channel wasn't that big for a while. So haven't needed it. But Danny says, Nabi Savage. I haven't seen anything, Danny, about Alvaro to Real. Nothing's been confirmed. Obviously, we got a here we go and stuff. But Danny says, Diamande, he pocketed Holland when they played City. Yeah, it's... Diamande is going to be pricey. He's going to be very, very pricey. But Yarrow Malman, welcome back. I hear Spurs are trying to hijack Mbeumo now that Frank. I saw some stuff about that. I can't remember what the source was, but I honestly wouldn't put too much into it. It was either a caught offside thing. I think it was a caught offside thing, and then maybe it was coming from. I tend not to believe anything from caught offside, nothing from Fekalias, nothing from Team Talk. Because literally all their sources are just according to sources, or it's been reported. Like, it's just. I can't be bothered until something more substantial. I did see that though. I just obviously didn't mention it because I just didn't really buy much into it. But welcome, man. Danny says, yeah, Sean, he was in German team, won 17 World Cup. Yep. Get him now before buying. Yeah, if we could get this kid again, he just joined Stuttgart in January. I doubt that he's going to leave right this second, but he definitely would be worth it in my opinion. I do like that a lot. Hello, Kerwin. Welcome, Kerwin Nixon. Big up. Welcome to the channel. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe too if you are new. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties and being late today. Apologies for not being able to put anything on the screen because for some reason the streaming platform is just having a little bit of its own hiccups. And so I'm not able to see any new comments populating and therefore not able to put them on the screen. But normally I do. I promise I do. So I do appreciate you guys being here. We're just going a little old school today, unplugged, right? So, but big up, you guys. Welcome to the channel. Always good to see new faces. I want to make sure I don't miss out on any chats, but welcome. So that was Finn Jelsch, young German defender. I do think we do need to be looking at center backs, and I think that he will come in, fit the bill, probably be happy to rotate, but I doubt that it's going to happen. So let me move on now to the wide right area because it's something that you guys have been mentioning for a little while now. Now, I think that personally, because we were linked with Giovanni Quenda, he's obviously going to go to Chelsea after another year. I think personally I would stick with Kamison, maybe even Montato, bring them in a little bit and see what we can do. Dorgu can play on that right-hand side if we need to as well. And, of course, we've got Ahmad. So I like that as well. But let's look at a couple of right-sided players that I want you guys to take a look at for those of you who are still looking at like the Roger Fernandez and the Francas and whatnot. So starting with Martim Fernandes. So young player, plays for Porto. He's a right back, but he's just 19. Now, if you notice, there's a bit of a theme here. I'm looking at young players right now, especially on that right-hand side. Very good chance creation, very, very good ball progressor, very good at high pressing, which is something I think we're going to want to see. He wins the ball a lot in the final third. A lot. And his vision to do this. So he has 6 assists this year as a 19-year-old, 2 times team of the week. So he was actually subbed on for a right back that I really like at Porto, João Mario. He was subbed on last 2023, I think. But he immediately, one of his first involvements as a sub was to literally create an assist for, I think it was Pepe, which pretty much just led to him starting since then. He's became their starting right back. He's 10th in the league right now for assists. He's 4th for big chances created. He's created 14 big chances. He's in the top here. I'll put this up on the screen for you guys so you can see here. So you can see his heat map. You can see his percentiles. These are what I refer to when I talk about percentiles, by the way. Top 5% for passes into the box, top 12% for crosses into the box, top 8% for carries into the box. Are you seeing a pattern here? He is all about getting that ball into the box. He is in the top percentile for through balls per 90. So he's constantly breaking defensive lines with his ball. This is where that playmaking and that vision comes from. And like I said, tackles in the final third, he's top 25%. So 19-year-old right back is in the top 25% in Europe's top 5 leagues for tackles won in the final third. That's a big deal. And I read too, an article that was it was probably a month old, but still a month is not that far out. But at that time, he was only behind Desiree Doué in Europe's top 7 leagues among under 21s for key passes per 90. So for all players in top 7 leagues under 21, he was second for key passes per 90. Again, the guy creates chances. He has vision. He can make it happen. And I like that. He's one of Porto's top players for creating big chances from open play. I like this wide playmaker. So if you look at his percentiles here, we can run through them a little bit. If you guys have any questions about percentiles, let me know. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat here. Danny says, good find. Appreciate that. If I get the Danny B's seal of approval, I consider that a win in my book. Lucky wants some Premier League players. Yeah, Premier League players are good. If you guys can find me any young Premier League right midfielders, right wing backs that you think could play in that position, let me know. I had high hopes for Tariq Lamptey 3 or 4 years ago, but that didn't end up working out. But So if you see like 19-year-old, look at his aerial duels, you guys. Literally top 20% for aerial duels, top percent for assists, top 25% for shot creating actions, top 3% for successful take-ons. So he's good on the ball, carries top 16%. Like, he gets the ball, get it forward, create chances. It's very simple, but he does it so well. And that's really what Amorim looks for on that right-hand side when it comes to those right midfielders. Similar to Ahmad, get the ball, get it up the pitch, and get it into the box. It's very simple. We overcomplicate that. Danny says Jonathan David wants United, Barca, or PSG. If Jonathan David comes to United, honestly though, I moved on past Jonathan David now that the Gyökeres stuff is getting hotter, because if it was a choice, I just didn't think Gyökeres was going to be an option. That's why I kind of moved on, and I was like, let's get Jonathan David. He's free. But the way Ineos are moving and the way these Gyökeres links just won't go away, now I only have eyes for Gyökeres. I don't want anyone else but Victor Gyökeres, man. So that was Martin Fernandes, FC Porto's young 19-year-old right back. I think he suits the system very well. I think he comes in, he rotates with Ahmad and whatnot, and then we see what we do. Maybe we push Ahmad off to the left-hand side eventually. Maybe this kid can play on the left and cut in on his right. I don't know, but I like this kid a lot. I would sell Dallo and just get someone like this young, up and coming. But again, my preference would probably be to stick with Camison for a little while, but Danny says, David rejected West Ham. That's interesting. Napoli not looking favorites. And yeah, Napoli've got Lukaku and whatnot. I don't know. West Ham, I thought, could have been a good pick for him. Maybe Villa, too. I think he could suit Villa pretty well. Because Evan Ferguson was just on loan, right? And West Ham got, what's his face? Frug from Dortmund. Is that who they got? So, like his thing says, Douglas Luiz has a break from football. He's ready to come back. Yeah, Douglas Luiz has got a little too many injuries for my taste, but I do like him. He's just injured so much. So on Martin Fernandes. So again, wide playmaker. He's often getting involved in these little triangles, these little give and goes on that right side. He's very good at hugging that touch line. Fluid, short, technical combination with his teammates. Adapts, breaks the opposition press with passing and moving. Like the simple stuff. This kid just understands how effective this simple stuff can be. We saw this firsthand when we played Porto this season. He combined well with his teammates to just pass around us in these triangles and just move the ball to the pitch. And then, even when it looked like maybe the play was dead, he busted out again, similar to Ahmad. He just pressed until he won the ball back in a very advanced position and created a chance. Like, the kid is very good. I think he's got the tenacity and clearly the physicality, if you remember his aerial duels, to make it in this league. And I would really like to see us look at someone like that. But I think Camison can do that as well. But Martin Fernandes, let me know what you guys think on him. We're going to move on to my final scouting report of the day. And this is another wide right player. So I got two right wingback, right midfield players for you guys today. So, and again, this one, he's a year older than Martin Fernandes, but he's still an excellent player. So say hello to Pau Sanz. So he plays in La Liga 2. So we did another player the other day, Christian Cafane, that striker who plays from Albacete. Go check that one out if you guys haven't seen that scouting report yet. But this is another player currently plying his trade in the Segunda division in Spain. Plays for Zaragoza, right midfielder, 20 years old. The guy is excellent goal scorer. Like, he scores lots of goals for such a young kid from that position, especially. His chance creation is good. His dribbling is good. His tackling is good. He's got this explosive acceleration as well. 5 goals and 1 assist this year. He's in the top 15% for possession won in the final third. He's in the top 7% for his tackle percentages. So, again, you're seeing a pattern here. Players who can create, get up and down the pitch, and who are adept at winning the ball back in advanced positions so we can start this transition from those areas. He's in the top 14% for touches in the opposition box as well, and top 10% for successful dribbles per 90. So, again, it's very similar to Ahmad in this regard. You guys, if you're not seeing a pattern here, that's the pattern. Physical, tenacious, winning the ball back, getting the ball into the box, carrying the ball up the pitch. He's actually second in the squad at Real Zaragoza for successful dribbles per 90. He's very good on the ball. He was Zaragoza's player of the month in April too. So this is his heat map. Now, they don't have percentiles for Segunda division, so I gave you some of the percentiles, but you didn't get to see any of the graph. But this is his basically his average touches, his heat map this season. See a lot of the ball in the opposition half, a lot of touches in and around the box. Very, very similar to Ahmad. I bet if I put up Ahmad's heat map, it would look very, very similar. He's versatile. He's adaptable to not only different situations on the pitch, but different systems too. And again, he's comfortable in those central areas, very, very comfortable out wide, which is why I think that he could do a very good job in this system, because that Amorim asks a lot from his wide right players. He likes them to be able to have a left foot. They don't need to be left footed, but they need to have a left foot. He plays very vertically. He plays very direct. And his first aim whenever he's gotten the ball is to break those defensive lines, to get that ball up the pitch, whether he's dribbling, whether he's finding a teammate in advanced position. He's very, very good in his 1v1s. I think he actually has a background in street footy, Pausan. So I think he's grown up like, kind of like, who's that kid that we were looking at? Palmeiras, Richard Rios, is that his name? Came from like street footy, or was it futsal for him? Very good. I mean, when you ever played street ball or like futsal, it's all about these 1v1s. It's all about creating space. It's all about beating a man. And if you've got that in your locker, it's like what Peter Schmeichel said about handball goalies. He says they're the best goalies in the world. Like, it's just the kinds of reflexes and the kind of skill it takes and what that builds. And I think street footy can do that as well. But if you're looking for someone who's similar, if you guys want someone to compare this kid to, think like Nico Williams at Bilbao, for instance. So, Roman, welcome to the channel. Amadou Onana is him. The whole Prem will be rating Villa. You think Amadou Onana is going to leave? Because he just joined Villa like this past summer, right? So that'd be difficult to get him out of there. Villa are playing in Europe this year. He is exactly the kind of midfielder I think would do well for us. Physical, good on the ball, energetic, tenacious, strong. I think that's kind of midfield. I did my list a couple like last week on some players to look at. I'll go check that out as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Pau Sands, what you think about Martin Fernandes, and what you think about Finn Yelch. 3 very young players, 1 center back, 2 kind of wide right players I think could fit the system as well. I told you guys you were getting 3 of them. So Lucky says, if Aston Villa will keep him, yeah, forget that guy, says Lucky. It would be expensive. You're going to be paying more. I don't know what they paid for him, but you're going to be paying more than they paid for him personally. So Danny likes Martin. Danny, did you go watch any of Christian Kofane at all after I did that scouting report the other day? If you go, like, obviously you don't get your 100% idea of a player just from YouTube compilations, but it is a good little starting point. And that's why I throw out a lot of the numbers and stuff too, because it does kind of flesh out that picture. But Kofane is very, very good. But glad I found another player you like, man. It's good. Did I put you on Arden Yashari? Did you already know about Yashari before I did that report on him all those months ago or not? I got to know. I got to know if I'm starting a thing here. Lucky says, age and fitness, these guys do this. Yeah. I like players. We need more fit players. We need more physical players. We're getting completely bullied in the Premier League this year. So, but those were your 3 scouting reports. Let's move on to the rest of the news, you guys. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing, guys, if you are new. If you do like the scouting reports, if you think you've got a player that you've found in some rando league someplace and want me to feature him on the channel, go check out the memberships. They will show you how to do that. That is a perk of the memberships, along with ideas for what if episodes and questions from a boot. You can get involved in a lot of that stuff. And if you've seen me wear the shirt that you can get in United vs. Everybody store with the 3 jerseys, the little mini jerseys on the front, there is a membership perk that lets you basically get a custom shirt like that. You can pick any 3 United shirts, and I will create them. I will put them on a t-shirt or a hoodie and make them available in the United vs. Everybody store. You don't get a free shirt, but you get to pick the design. So go check out that one as well. What are you guys saying over here in the chat? Like he says, Sean, yeah, Angel Fernandes had a slow start. Look at how he's changing now. That guy's changing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Chelsea were kind of going through a little bit of a shitstorm as well. So Danny says, I didn't, Sean. I comment in the Steam later his name because I will forget it. Yeah, big up. Danny says, didn't know about Yashari really until I watched him against Celtic last year, and you mentioned him too. Nice. Yeah, Yashari is the truth, you guys. I would take Yashari. I would take Hayden Hackney. I would take a lot of these players at United. So Little other random news. So Ben Jacobs gave us a little update yesterday on United's financial status because the quarterly numbers were released this week. I know it's boring, right? But it's United News, and we've been talking about PSR and finances and stuff. Sir Jim's been talking about it. It's worth mentioning. Now, I'm not going to try to get into too much detail with the finances because I'm not as smarty as that. It's also kind of boring. It's kind of like math. Like it's important. I get it. And I kind of know the basics, but math is just so boring to me. It's probably why I didn't ever do very well. I don't understand a lot of the financial stuff because it's boring. I probably don't put as much thought into it as I should, but the third quarter fiscal results were published. So apparently we've increased our revenues for the quarter by more than 17%. So revenues going up, and that's going to happen when you get to a European Cup final. Of course, the more matches you're in, especially in Europe. That's why missing out on European football is a big blow for us, because not only do we not get as much money from Adidas, they pull like 10 million a year. We're not in Champions League, but that extra match day revenue, that's four home matches guaranteed from the league phase that you're missing out on. And match day revenue is a huge chunk of money, but you do split a little bit of the gate stuff from the other matches as well. So we miss out on that. So we went all the way to the final. We got a lot of extra revenue for that. So that's a big help. The company that we also recorded an operating profit of 0.7 million pounds compared to a previous operating loss of over 66 million pounds in third quarter of 24. So compared to a year ago, we've actually made up like more than 60 million. So it's not too bad. And then that 50 million pound revamp of Carrington is going to be finished in the summer. Obviously, Sir Jim came in, Sir Dave Brailsford came in, and they decided to completely revamp Carrington. It is a bit of a bummer because they basically put the men into the women's stuff and they forced the women out so that the men could have room to have a place to hang out and stuff while Carrington was getting rebuilt. So it is what it is. Take that any way you want. But big up Lyle. Welcome to the channel, Lyle. I would put your comment on the screen, dude, but like I've said a couple times for people who are just jumping in, like my streaming platform is having all sorts of craziness, so it's not showing me any new chats and it's not letting me put them on the screen. So I would normally I do. Once I'm done here, I'm gonna reset this computer and figure it out. But big up Lyle, welcome to the channel, man. Danny says apparently Wilcox likes Hackney. I did read a report. We talked about that yesterday. I forget where it's come from him, but it was basically saying because we might be missing out on Ederson, we could go back to a target that we were linked with in the past, which was Hayden Hackney. I would love it if we got Hayden Hackney. You guys know I love Hayden Hackney a lot, but big up Lyle, welcome. Wardley, what a kid. Danny's watching that boxing. That's funny. So I know a lot of you probably don't care about the financial stuff of the club. You just want us to sign the players and you stop. I personally need us to get a handle on this so we stop firing people, because it's definitely not a good look. And all it does is just, you're going to get the pressure. You're going to get the stories. You guys have seen the press are going to try to force any sort of negative spin they can. So it's nothing new for United, but we don't help ourselves with all the negative stuff we've been doing, all the bad PR optic stuff that we've been doing. It doesn't help. So we got a little bit of profit now. We're up 17 million in the quarter. So let's just see what happens. We're going to be losing some of that, though. We need to sell some players. We need to get a handle on these finances, and we'll see what happens. Probably haven't seen the last of the negative stuff, though. So moving on to some stadium news. So we got some updates regarding the stadium and the regeneration project. So the reports coming in are the plans for the 4.2 billion regeneration of Old Trafford, which includes the stadium, took a significant step forward today as council officials in Manchester have signaled their intention to create a new statutory body with powers to purchase land and drive the project forward. So we've already got what do they call it? A little task force, right? But now the city, the council have created another little mini team whose job is basically to get the land set up, to help get the materials, the resources, get the logistics all set up and find a place to do that, basically. Trafford Council's executive committee is set to agree to consult to create a new statutory body to coordinate plans for the area. So basically their job, like I said, to acquire the land, develop it, and then lock in all those materials and whatnot, logistics, personnel, whatever, to get the project going. So we're starting, really all this means is that we're taking another step towards getting this project done. So there was a lot involved. Obviously, the task force consulted with a lot of the community, the businesses. The plan is not just the stadium. And remember, the plan was for the stadium was only going to go ahead if the whole Manchester, that whole area regeneration project was approved, because it will mean housing, businesses, jobs, all that kind of stuff. And even just the labor alone is going to mean jobs. So all that is so closely intertwined. The government is not paying for the stadium. So despite what the BBC are trying to get you to believe, nope, not happening. Lyle says, been in here since the beginning of the show, so I'm up to date. Awesome. Big up, Lyle. Glad to see you in here, man. So Lucky says, Casemiro happy, went back position, did have impacted season, but happy replacement. Give my younger South American someone. You guys know I like me some Christian Ordonez a lot. I would like to see him, but Hackney's got to be one of the big ones on there. Yashari's got to be up there too. Following approval, there will be a huge consultation initiative to get this summer. Local people are going to be asked to get their views in, kind of help contribute to the project's vision and whatnot. There will be 6 weeks of this consultation actually throughout the summer, and people are going to have their chance to get their say in online, in person, and whatnot. So expect some positive PR is what I'm getting at. The in-person stuff especially, you're probably going to see a lot of interview clips, a lot of just videos of what people have to say about the project. Of course, you're probably going to see only the positive ones because that's just part and parcel. But of course, Danny says, never believe a word the BBC say. Well, big up, big pure fake news. You guys remember we talked about that. I don't know if you guys watched a Football Terrace, but Terry came on on his channel one day and said the BBC tried basically to get him to lie. They tried to get him to say that the government was going to be paying for the new stadium for Manchester United. And he was like, but that's just not true. Literally, the mayor said that's not happening. BBC tried to get him to lie, and he was like, I'm not doing that. So I told you guys, I've told you many, many times, the agenda is real. The BBC are absolute dog shit. I think it was the BBC who came out last week with the Matheus Cunha walking stat. Like, when has anyone ever come out with a walking stat? No, because it's a United player. I guarantee you're not going to hear a peep about how much Liverpool pay for Florian Wirtz, and you're not going to hear a peep about how much they pay him per week. I guarantee you won't hear anything about that. If anything, you're going to hear Liverpool fans still saying, well, we still got some of that Coutinho money lying around. So it's like half. We're all paying like half. It's fine. Nobody wants to talk about how much they paid for Darwin Nunez, by the way. The dude is absolute shit. Endo, absolute shit. Samikas, who they don't like anymore. Like Ben White, is anyone? Oh, sorry, Arsenal. I'm thinking of something else. But like, no one cares. I guarantee if Cunha went to Liverpool, there'd be no one talking about his walking. So it is what it is. But that's some stadium news. And Ange has been sacked, mate. After winning the Europa League, that was insane. I honestly thought that he probably wouldn't, because he won the Europa League and Spurs don't win trophies. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe they're like, no, we don't do that here. Now everyone's going to think we need to win trophies. We were happy just keeping the expectations low, Ange, and now you've raised the expectations. Could be good for them. I still can't remember off the top of my head if Heung-min Son has left as a free agent. I thought there was. Spurs need, if they're going to compete in the Champions League, I think Spurs are probably going to put a lot of eggs in the Champions League basket, but it's really going to depend on what they do this summer, because they don't have the squad to compete in the Champions League. Their defense is probably their best asset when it comes to competing in the Champions League, but everywhere else on the pitch, they're not going to be able to do it. Van de Ven, Porro, they'll do fine with that. Maybe Vicario as well, but Brennan Johnson's not going to win you a Champions League. Richarlison's not going to win you a Champions League. They're just not. Like, even Bergvall is good, but he's not that guy yet. So it's a little insane. I saw Thomas Frank heavily linked with the Spurs job. I thought that Ange would have gotten sacked mid-season and we would have seen Graham Potter, but obviously that didn't happen. Graham Potter's at West Ham now. I don't rate Thomas Frank all that highly, to be honest. I don't think he's a bad manager. I just, like, if you're content with just mid-table every single season and you're just that's where you live, I mean, he's got to want to challenge himself. I think that Brentford, I do think though, like as much as I don't rate Thomas Frank, I do think that maybe if he was at a club where if he's at a club that wasn't a selling club, I think maybe you would see something a little more from him. But when you're constantly just losing your best players every single summer, like literally every single summer, um, it's very difficult. It just is what unless you're in a two-team league like Dortmund or like Ajax or something, because they always lose their best players too. I think it's going to be difficult. You see it at Brighton too. Like Brighton have a little better caliber of player, I think, than Brentford, so they're able to compete a little bit more. But again, they're a selling club, and they know it. They're not trying to sugarcoat it. Benfica similar, but they're in another like two-team league anyway. So, um, let me see. Lyle says Vert's wages apparently leaked and is rumored to be 425K a week. If true, that's insane. I saw like 300 and something K earlier. I'm waiting to see I'm like they compared it to Mbeumo, and I'm like Mbeumo's not getting paid 250K a week. It's not going to happen. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure Mbeumo will be close to like 200, maybe there or thereabouts, but it is what it is. Lucky says Hoyland, maybe we should get 32 and a half Inter. If Hoyland leaves, would you guys? Okay, here's a question. So with Hoyland, we still need a striker. We need a better striker. Hoyland could be backup. I think for me, Hoyland's probably needs to just go revitalize his career. I don't think he can handle it. It's probably not the best time for it, but what are you going to do? But if we get rid of Hoyland, even if we get Gyökeres and we get rid of Hoyland, we need another striker because I don't know if Cheeto is quite there yet. So Dominic Calvert-Lewin on a free. I saw somebody talking about that earlier. Dominic Calvert-Lewin as the backup striker. There was a time, it was probably like 4 years ago, where I was like, where Dominic Calvert-Lewin looked halfway decent, and then it's just fallen apart. It's ridiculous. But no, I would not take Dominic Calvert-Lewin at United. It just wouldn't happen. Lyle says, Ange at the trophy parade saying, look out for season 3. But little did he know season 3 got canceled. Like a Netflix show, season 3 got canceled. Poor Ange. He had to know that it was probably a possibility. I mean, the guy was going full Mourinho mid-season. He was railing off at fans. Fans have been turned on. I saw fans before the final. Like even if he wins, he still got to go. And I get it. And Spurs they'll try to twist it and say, we've got standards and stuff. And that's how Spurs are going to try to sound like they're a big club. They're not a big club. I think Spurs need to go into this Champions League run with a fresh squad. The problem is money. And they just did this stadium build. Remember, Pochettino didn't get any signings like that last summer after that Champions League final because all that money was thrown into this stadium that went over budget and everything by at least a factor of 10. It went over budget. And so I don't know what Spurs think they're going to do. I really don't. They need a striker, Spurs, and they're probably going to need someone on that left-hand side as well. So maybe they need to dip into the free agency a little bit. As well, they need to get creative. Be looking at guys like Anguissa. Maybe did I know he was leaving as a free agent? Did he end up renewing? Did he go someplace? I don't know off the top of my head. They honestly Spurs. Jonathan David would be excellent for them. They need a top striker. Richarlison's just not that guy. But what are you gonna do? Lucky says I would mind a Damdi Everton striker. I don't know who that is. Big up though. But I mean, that's pretty much the news. Like I said, not a ton. Some of the financial stuff, some of the stadium stuff, and then obviously I wanted to get in some scouting reports because you guys know I like the scouting reports. Seems like you guys like them too. But and so apologies again for the technical difficulties for getting a late start. Like I said, both computers just messed up, and like I said, EVMux, the streaming platform I use, is having an absolute nightmare right now. But I do appreciate y'all sticking around and showing the support. Show some more support. Hit that like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check the memberships. If you want to get $5 off at GoGoalShop, you can use the code in the description to register. Get yourself some sweet jerseys. There's some retro United jerseys. None of it goes to the Glazers. None of it comes to me. And they're legit. Like I've got a couple of them. You guys have seen me wear them. And then, of course, go check out the United vs. Everybody store. New designs dropping all the time. I just dropped another one yesterday and today. Go check those out. Hoodies, T-shirts, women clothes, all of it. But I will let you guys get back to your Saturdays. I'm going to get Danny get back to the boxing and everything. I was watching the U.S. play Turkey earlier, and the U.S. actually scored like a minute into the match, and then Turkey just chose violence and started dominating. Yeah, Turkey, and I mean they didn't end up doing anything more, but yeah, they beat them 2-1. Yeah, I don't have much faith in the U.S. men's national team, but appreciate you guys stopping by. I'm sure we will have some big news probably tomorrow or Monday. Usually the big news seems to come on the Mondays. We're probably going to try to wrap up something because you remember this transfer window is going to close for like a week for the Club World Cup, and then it's going to pick back up. We're seeing a lot of clubs pay a little extra, expedite their transfers so they can get these players in for the Club World Cup. But I would love us to get some more players done before the 10th. I think that's when it closes, right? I just really want the players in for preseason. I want them to get with the squad, get with Amorim, get on the pitch, and start playing. So until then, you guys enjoy your weekend. Let me know what you guys are getting up to. Leave a thought in the comment if you weren't able to catch the live. Check all the memberships and whatnot. The spiel, you guys know what it is. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And I will see you guys on the next one. Later.